Hi, I just wanted to share with you some thoughts about multitasking. I thought about it because the other day I was listening to an audiobook, and in this audiobook they were talking about this concept or this idea, quite well known, that we can't do two things at the same time. I had heard this idea already several times, and obviously there are many things we can't do at the same time. But it's also obvious that we are able to do some particular things at the same time. In the book, they talk about it. They say, for example, that we are totally capable of walking and talking at the same time. They give a little precision that I think is very important. They say it's not really about doing two things at the same time, but it's more about focusing on two things at the same time. That's quite difficult. So that's what got me thinking. Because I noticed a kind of pattern. Let me give you an example. I'm totally capable of drawing and listening to an audiobook at the same time, or a podcast, or a course, or a conversation. I noticed the same thing with dealing with numbers in a spreadsheet, and that's also true for cooking. What I noticed is that I'm even more concentrated on the topics and the things I hear when I'm doing something like drawing or cooking. But on the contrary, it's impossible for me to write an email while I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast or a course or a discussion. And this is totally understandable because it's really about focusing on two things at the same time. That got me intrigued because of two things. First, I have the feeling that I'm totally focused on drawing or putting numbers in a spreadsheet or cooking. Really focused. The second thing is that I have the deep feeling that I'm integrating what I'm listening to much better when I'm, for example, drawing at the same time. So what I understand from this is that there are some activities that, at least for me, help me open up to something else, give space to something else at the same time. And at the same time, it shuts down the usual thinking process, the mental noise. So that leaves really space for integrating what is in the discussion, in the podcast, or in the audiobook. Well, I found it quite interesting to think about this, because it means that there are some activities that actually, if you focus on them, then it helps you get even better at something else you're doing at the same time. That's really interesting. And of course, this leads me to considerations about meditation, because these activities like drawing, painting, cooking, and even, I have to say, sometimes putting numbers in a spreadsheet and dealing with them, which is quite weird, I admit. But these kind of activities put me in a state of flow, which is quite the same thing as meditation. This state, whether it's meditation or other kind of flow state, helps for other activities. Now, here is a final consideration, final thought about this topic, and I guess it comes from something I heard from Joe Dispenza. With this matter of frequency, of vibration, and that informations are carried by frequencies. So I won't go into details about these topics of frequency and vibration. It would take quite some time, and I'm not so much an expert about it. But just to keep it simple, frequencies carry information. And so if we link it to this topic of flow and doing two things at the same time, well, the fact that I'm drawing or meditating or something like this is setting me in a certain type of vibration. And my hypothesis is that on this quite pure and quite favorable frequency, information can be very efficiently carried. What do you think about it? Does it make any sense? I would really appreciate to have your thoughts about it. You can leave them in the comments here below. And to wrap up this video about multitasking, let me just say that while I was listening to this audiobook, I was also thinking about this topic of multitasking and processing it, and at the same time I was shaving in the bathroom, and also at the same time I was trying to prevent my 1.5-year-old son to get to the dustbin with the used diapers in it. So at this point I was definitely beyond the limits of multitasking. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. That's the red button somewhere here. See you in the next video. Have a great day.